To the Newfane Selectboard meeting, Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. It is almost 6:02. It's nice to see a lot of people attending via Zoom. Thank you. We have Shelley Huber, Katie Johnson-Applin, Ann Golub, myself, Angela Sanborn, here in person, and we have Mike Fitzpatrick on the phone. And we have one member of the public and our administrative assistant, and we'd like to welcome back Austin after a little hiatus, our BCTV camera operator. Welcome back. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda?
We need to talk about the town fest mask mandate.
Juanetta will have that in her report, so that's already done. Any others? We'll move to approval of the minutes for the February 7th, 2022 regular meeting. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. We'll do a roll call since Mike is on the phone. All those in favor, nay, or abstain, say. Mike?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Katie?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, Angela, aye. Great. And we have Jay Wilson, our road foreman. Excited for all this weather we're having?
It's just wonderful.
And we're ready for your report.
Looks like lots of snow at the end of the week. So the board should have the contract for Wyndham Regional Commission to be the municipal project manager for the Newfane Village pedestrian scoping study, and will need to be signed. The sand salt shed is headed for a final review with V-Trans, and hopefully it will go out to bid in a couple weeks.
Great.
Renault Brothers are planning on doing some work under the Arch Bridge in the next week or two, and it looks like everything's on schedule, weather permitting. One other thing I forgot to put in here is the Depot Road box culvert. The 3 days notice was up today, I believe it is, or yesterday. So I left a message this morning to try to get some information from Fisher's office, and I didn't get a call back. So I'm waiting to hear from them how to proceed so we can take that little piece of land that we need to use for the box culvert. And the board has a copy of the proposal from Williams Company to begin the permit process for the gravel pit.
That's that one.
We just need to sign that.
We need a motion for somebody to authorize you.
Authorize whom? Someone to sign it?
Yeah, there's only one place for some.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that Angela sign the agreement on behalf of the board.
Great. Any discussion on this?
This is a different question. Did we actually close on the property?
We did. We closed today.
Yay!
We own a gravel pit. Good job, everyone. All right. Wow. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor or abstain or deny, say so. Mike?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Katie?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Great. I will sign that tonight.
Okay, then you have the one from Wyndham Regional also?
I do not have that one.
I will get that for them before the end of the meeting if you want to make a motion for that one as well.
Is there a motion for someone to sign the contract for Wyndham Regional Commission?
For the scoping project?
Yes.
I make a motion that Angela sign on behalf of the board.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, nay, or abstain, say so. Mike?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Katie?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Great. Is there a motion to accept the road foreman and commissioner's report?
I make a motion.
Second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, nay, or abstain? Mike?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Katie?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
Myself, aye. And now we are moving on to Juanetta's report, the administrative assistance report.
I will review the Newfane ordinances and policies and have them ready for the new select board to read and review. I will edit any changes or recommendations and have them available to readopt at the March 14th meeting after everybody's been sworn in. I was notified on 2/17 that there was a possible dog bite that is currently being investigated by Ashley Pinger of the Windham County Sheriff's Department and Animal Control. I will keep the board informed as this is an ongoing investigation. The organizational meeting for the new select board will be on Thursday, March 3rd at 6 p.m. And the Newfane mask mandate may be readopted for another 30 days as of tonight. This rule will expire on April 30th, so we have to do it one more time before that expiration.
I thought last time it was for 45 days.
The first initial one was for 45 days, each
Subsequent one.
is for 30 days.
Got it. Thank you.
So I'm sure there's discussion on that. Anyone? Or shall we do a motion first?
To accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Or the report.
The report, yes,
Right.
sorry.
I make a motion.
Is there a
I
second?
second.
Discussion.
What's the discussion for just, to vote on the mandates or anything, or just on our
Well,
minutes?
that's part of what her report is about. Is there a discussion about it?
Well, I think the only thing, I mean, what are you gonna do, just vote on just what we've had so far, just in the office?
It's just for select board or
Well, it's
select
just for the town hall.
Town-owned buildings.
town-owned buildings and our meetings.
So it affects this
Well,
building
not all
and
town
Williamsville Hall.
buildings, right?
What?
So we don't have to make them wear them in the garages and stuff. It's
No,
just like the town
no.
office and stuff.
Williamsville Hall and this building.
Right. Yeah. And that's only good for another 30 days then?
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
'Cause I mean, it's doing a lot of talking about getting rid of a lot of that stuff, so.
But not yet.
Alright.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to extend the mask mandate similar to what we did before for another 30 days.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Was that Katie or Mike?
Katie
Is there
seconded.
discussion?
We'll have some discussion.
Personally, I think it's nonsense at this point, and so I'm just gonna verbally say no. I'm not in agreement.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Numbers have come way down in Vermont. There's,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's time to reveal our faces. Hallelujah.
Anyone else?
I would just say that we certainly seem to be coming to the end of this, but we're not completely at the end. And I just think, especially for the people working here in this office, that has been the request. So I am in favor of continuing it for another 30 days. I wouldn't be surprised if this would then be the end of it, but I would prefer to do it for another 30 days.
We can only hope and pray that this is the end of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyone else? All right, hearing no further discussion. All those in favor, nay, or abstain from the Town of Newfane mask mandate be readopted for another 30 days that will expire on April 30th. Say,
The rule expires on April 30th.
Oh, the rule.
We're doing
Yeah.
this for another.
Sorry,
30 days,
you're right.
yeah.
I read that wrong.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
Shelley,
Nay.
Katie,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
myself, aye. We'll go another 30 days and we'll talk about it again. And at this point, I'm going to recess our select board meeting and turn it over to our town moderator, Deb Luskin, for our pre-town meeting informational, and this is happening at 6:11. Hi, Deb. The floor is
Hi.
yours. Hi, Deb.
All right, thank you. Welcome, and welcome to everybody who is attending the informational meeting for this year's Australian ballot. We will not be having an in-person town meeting. All decisions will be made by voting paper ballot. They are available now at during office hours at the town office with the town clerk, and you can vote up until 7 o'clock on March 1st, 7 p.m. on March 1st, when the polls will close. And there are contested seats, and there are over 30 articles. So first, a few things, just a reminder about how this works today. We're asking everyone but the select board and myself and the person who is recognized to speak to please stay muted and with your video off. And then if you want to speak, the other thing is that you need to have your name, the way we'll recognize you as someone who lives in Newfane or someone who is here to speak in favor of something or against something, explain something. I will recognize people who use the raise hand function on your screen. So, and I should let you know that the chat is not being monitored now. So that's not going to work. If once I call on you, I recognize you, please restate your name and where you live. Say what you have to say, and BCTV will invite you to unmute and turn on your video if you're calling in by Zoom, and if you're on phone, you'll just be on the phone. When you're done speaking, we're going to ask you to please stop your video and mute your mic again. Again, the chat is not being monitored. I see people writing into it. We're not seeing it. So I'm sorry that we can't help you. If you need to ask a question, please use the raise hand function on your Zoom. So that's it. I thought what we did last year worked pretty well. Just go through the articles in order. Article 1 is about the open seats. There are people running running for offices. If there are any questions or any comments about the offices that are open, any discussion about Article 1, please use the raise hand function on your Zoom. Seeing none, we'll go on to Article 2, which is, shall the voters of town of Newfane pay taxes for the ensuing year on a quarterly basis due on the 15th of August, October, January, and April, with a late charge for interest being at the rate of 0.5% per month for the current fiscal year and 0.75% per month for each month thereafter until paid. Bill Gunther, you have your hand up. What would you like to say? And do you have a video to turn on? The chair recognizes Bill Gunther. I think we're waiting for BCTV to get Bill connected. Okay.
I sent him a request. He has not accepted it.
Yeah. Bill Gunther, in order to speak, you must unmute your microphone. And BCTV has made it possible for you to speak.
There you are.
I'm not hearing Bill. I hope he's not. talking and we're not hearing him.
He is unmuted.
Bill, we are not hearing anything you're saying. Are you there, Bill?
Can you type it in?
If you try rejoining the call, that sometimes fixes audio issues.
It may be the green. Interrupting.
Nolan, what should we do here?
I would move on.
Okay,
He
we'll
must be
move on,
initiating
and
then.
I'm sure if Bill can get this straightened out, we will hear from him later. Again, we can go through all these, we can talk about anything we want on tonight, but we can't make any changes to the warning, which is already set and voting has already started. So there seems to be no further discussion. If there's any discussion on Article 2, you have another chance to raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll move on to Article 3, which is shall the voters of the town of Newfane authorize the treasurer to collect current taxes pursuant to the Vermont state statutes. No conversation. Article 4, shall the voters of the town of Newfane authorize the select board to sell or otherwise convey property acquired through tax sale proceedings? Please use the raise hand function if you want to speak. And
Poor Bill.
this might be, Bill is not, he's not unmuted.
He said something about, I'm here, I'm unmuted my telephone with *6.
Yeah, not working.
No, that's Bucky Pelsu has a question.
All right.
Well, Bucky Pelsu had his hand raised. I don't know if he still needs.
Bucky, I see Bucky's face and I never saw a hand raise, but that's okay. Where'd he go? Now he's gone. Nolan, do you see Bucky Pelsu? Can you,
Bucky is unmuted.
okay.
Okay,
Bucky, welcome
Yes.
tonight. You're clapping your hands?
Bucky
Want to say
Pelsu,
anything?
Newfane Hill. I have
Uh-huh.
a general question of information. Was there ever a time when there could be amendments made to the articles this year? I know we can't now, but was there ever a time when there was voters could make an amendment?
A voter could have gone to any of the select board meetings at which these were brought up and discussed. Select board meeting, this was all created in open select board meetings, the budget and the warning.
Information to the voters would have been very helpful.
I
Of the
think the
process.
select
Hopefully we
board,
won't have to, hopefully we won't have to do this another year, but if we do, information to the voters of the process would be very helpful.
I'm sure the select board is hearing you. Thank you. Do you have anything else to add?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Janice Hall from Senior Solutions has her hand up. I recognize Janice Hall. Welcome, Janice.
Hi, thank you. I'm just trying to help out with Bill. I see somebody represented by just a phone number there. And I know there was a name panel with Bill, but I think Bill is that phone number perhaps, and I wonder if that matters in terms of giving the right participant the permission.
He is now, I see he's now connecting to audio. So this is being connected, BCTV is in charge of connecting people. And Bill is still muted. I don't understand why, but thank you, Janice.
Hello?
Is there
Hello?
any further? Hello, is that Bill?
Anybody hear me?
Yes, I
Hello?
hear somebody. Who is speaking, please?
Oh, okay. I think you got Bill, Deb. The problem I have is I'm going to appear twice because I have no camera on my computer, so you can't see me. I'm real low tech, and I have no mic on my computer, so I can see and hear you guys on my computer and my computer speakers. But the only way I can talk to you, I have to call in on some ungodly long toll call, and I got to dial 28 numbers for an access code to get in.
All right, so Bill, I need to know for the record, are you 1-802-365-4252?
Yep, only number I got. No cell coverage up here, so I don't own a cell phone.
Okay, so
I'm going to be on twice.
We have you twice, and we have you on the line. So please tell us what you want to say.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Wow, you didn't want to hear what I was saying before. A few choice words about technology. But anyway.
Well, thank you for your persistence.
On Article 1, I just wanted to try to get a sense, are we basically potentially losing all our current listers? I know Frank resigned, and is Doris getting done, or I'm looking at the ballot and trying to sort out just what's happening with the lister's office, I guess.
Is there anyone who can answer that question for Bill?
The only one that turned in their paperwork was, what's her name?
Beckley.
Beckley Gaudette. She's the only one that turned in paperwork for a 2-year position for the lister. Anybody else could write in.
Okay, so yeah, that was the only name that I saw. So I'm assuming Doris is bowing out after many years, and Dennis as well.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for persevering. All right. So we are now at. Is there any other any comments about Article 4? If not, we'll go on to the special appropriations. Article 5 is shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $500 to the American Red Cross. Is there any discussion? If so, please use the raise hand function on your screen.
That's Article 9. So we don't discuss the other ones?
All right. So seeing no raised hands, Article 6, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $250 to the AIDS Project of Southern Vermont. Is there any discussion? Article 7, shall the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $1,500 to the incorporated village of the Newfane Union Hall? Yes, Bill.
Okay.
Bill
yeah,
Gunther.
I'm just looking through. I'm looking at page 19, which is the proposed budget under special appropriations, and the village had not requested anything, at least in the last few years. And about the middle of the page is their request. Just says Incorporated Village of Newfane, but the way the article actually reads, states shall the voters appropriate the sum of $1,500 to Incorporated Village of Newfane, and then it says Union Hall there. So is this $1,500 for repair or maintenance, or? So I I guess two questions. Is it a request or is it a request for something that's of more of an emergent need?
Is there anyone here who can answer that question?
I think it's just a general request for maintenance of the Union Hall.
And that's Select Board Member Shelley Huber.
That sort of leads to another question along that same line. When the town uses the Union Hall, and of course I think we're the only town in the state that goes back and forth for our meeting, does the town reimburse the village for any of those costs, or has that always been done on a gratis basis?
I don't believe so.
We don't believe that we've been charged anything when we've used that hall
For select board.
for a select board or for a town meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, is that the end of the questions this time?
Yep, that takes care of me on that one. Thank you.
Okay, if you could press the secret, yeah, you did it, great. So we are now on Article 8. Shall the voters appropriate the sum of $3,500 to Grace Cottage Hospital? Is there anyone who wants to speak to that? Bill Gunther? Bill, the chair recognizes you again.
Hello?
Yeah, you're recognized. You have the floor.
Yes, I would just like to speak in support of this. I've always felt Grace Cottage is the best little hospital in the world. They got the best docs in the world. They patched me up many times, and they gave me my life back with 2 new knees. So I want to give them a 200% endorsement on this one.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to Article 8? Article 9, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate $400 for Green Mountain RSVP? Bill, your hand is still up. Did you want to speak to this?
No, do I? Oh, you have to lower. I've never done the hand thing. So you raise
right.
it and then you got to lower it. Oh,
That's
okay,
right.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
no, it's fine. We're all learning.
Okay,
It doesn't seem that there's any discussion on Article 9. Article 10, shall the town appropriate the sum of $1,000 to Groundwork Collaborative? Any discussion or questions? Yeah.
So Deb, I just wanted to let everyone know that all of these people attended the meeting either by, Zoom or in person, and they presented the merits of their request. And they were on over a period of time, and they were all publicly, viewable and could be attended to. So just FYI for people, one of the criteria was that they had to attend and present their cause and their request in person in front of the select board.
And how they benefited Newfane.
Right, and also to tell us how many Newfane residents that they had been served. There you go.
And the
Thank
other
you.
thing I would add is that those reports are now here in the town report.
Right.
And actually, if you would look at the camera and speak, face the camera and speak. I didn't hear what you had to say. So
I said that their reports from each one of these groups soliciting money is part of the town report.
Yes, so she says that if you look in your town report, there are reports from each of these organizations. The Green Mountain, I don't have that one down. It's the only one I didn't write the page number for. Groundworks Collaborative is on page 116. I think that's where we are. Let's move on to Article 11, which is to appropriate $1,850 for healthcare and rehabilitation services. You'll find that report on page 117. Is there any discussion or any questions? Article 12 is to appropriate the sum of $1,000 to the Leland and Gray Education Foundation. The report is on page 119. And use the raise hand function if you want to say anything. I'll keep going. The town of Newfane, shall the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $2,700 to the Moore Free Library? That is on page 121. Article 14, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate $1,000 to Restorative Community Practice of Southern Vermont on page 123. Article 15, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $1,150 to Senior Solutions? The report is on page 124, and we have a bid from Janice Hall from Senior Solutions. The chair recognizes Janice Hall. There you go. What can you tell us, Janice?
A bid, I love it. So I would just share with you a few highlights of our service numbers. It will take 2 or 3 minutes unless anybody else has questions and we could get those answered, but I don't see any other hands up. So we had given an unduplicated number of clients served to the select board. I don't have that in front of me right now, but I can tell you for our major services, we had served 26 folks with case management, and that was over 243 hours of service. We had, and this is over a year's time ending June 30th of 2021. We had 15 home delivered meals clients. People usually know that as Meals on Wheels. And there were over 3,800 meals delivered. We had 102 calls from Newfane, Williamsville this would be either calls to our senior helpline or meetings to give the kinds of referrals that the senior helpline gives. So 102 calls. And our SHIP department, which is State Health Insurance Program, counseling people on their options for especially Medicare. We helped 18 people with that over the course of 28 calls or meetings. And we also, to wrap up, had 3 people who are receiving volunteer services. And then, of course, we support with pass-through funds from the Older Americans Act federal funding. We support local meal sites, which during COVID have been operating differently and sometimes not as robustly as they have been in the past. But we do that in partnership with the Newfane Congregational Church, the Dam Diner, and of course, people can also go to the Townsend Church and all of the other congregate meal sites around, like the Evening Star Grange in Dummerston and all that. So again, I'm happy to answer any questions. Other than that, I could be done.
Thank you for coming and bringing your information. If anyone has a question, I see Bill Gunther has a question. Bill, please ask your question to Janice. We're waiting for Bill to come on the line.
Here he is.
I'm unmuted. Yes, I just wanted to speak in support of this for Senior Solutions, I participate in the Vet to Vet program, which is veterans that get buddied up with other veterans that may need some help, and it's really a good program. Unfortunately, we haven't been as active as we'd like with COVID, but hopefully if we get on the other side of it, we're going to be able to get things geared up. We've got a new coordinator, so there's a lot of energy there, and I wholeheartedly support this appropriation to Senior Solutions.
I wondered
Thank
if it was that bill. Thank you.
Are there any other questions while we have Janice visiting us? Thank you. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
And thanks for what you do for residents of Newfane. Article 16, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $1,600 for SEVCA? And their report is on page 126 if you haven't read it yet. Are there any questions or comments about SEVCA? Seeing none, we'll move on to Article 17, which is to appropriate the sum of $5,178 to SE Veds, which is on page 109. Are there any questions about this appropriation or comments? Casey Haynes from SE Veds, you're recognized. Hi, Casey.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'll try to be blissfully brief in here unless folks have any specific questions. But I'm here with SEVEDS. We are the organization providing regional economic development support that Newfane residents and businesses are the beneficiaries of. So in 2021, and as a result of the pandemic, I'll just throw some quick numbers out there, and pardon me while I very conspicuously read them off my page over here. So 18 Newfane organizations received liaison support from BDCC and SEVEDS to help with state and federal loan and grant applications. 41 loans totaling almost $2.4 million were made to Newfane organizations employing 138 people. 3 Newfane businesses received Restart Vermont technical assistance programs directly administered by our organization. Each of those grants was up to $4,000 each and at no cost to residents. So we do those kinds of business supports as well as high school programming. So we have my colleagues helps to ensure that programs like the senior survival at Leland and Gray can continue happening. So as well as other workforce programs helping people who are already here as well as newcomers. For instance, Afghan refugees, we're helping them to make sure that they have good jobs in the area. So this is just like a small smattering of some of the things that we do. Happy to dig in a little bit deeper if anyone has questions.
If anyone has a question for Casey while we have him on the line, please use your raise hand function on your screen. It doesn't look like there are any further questions. You've answered them or anticipated them. Thank you so much for coming to our meeting.
Thank you all for having me. Have a great evening.
Thank you for what you do. We're now up to Article 18. Shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $600 to the Southern SEVT Watershed Alliance? Does anyone have any questions or want to speak to Article 18? Seeing no raised hands, we'll move on to Article 19, which asks the voters of Newfane to appropriate the sum of $2,000 to the South Newfane Community Association. Is there any comment or question about Article 19? You can find the report on page 128. Seeing no raised hands, we'll move on to Article 20. which asks the voters of the town of Newfane to appropriate the sum of $1,000 to the Timpson Hill Preschool. Are there any questions or comments about Article 20? Article 21, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate $1,000 to the Gathering Place? Any comments or questions? Article 22, shall the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $750 to the mover? Comments or questions? I see no raised hands. So Article 23, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate $2,675 to Valley Cares? Questions or comments? Bill Gunther, I see your hand up. We're waiting for Bill to come on the line.
Am I live?
You are live. We hear you.
Yes, I would like to speak in support of Valley Cares. A couple reasons. I've known some of the residents, some folks I've done some volunteer driving for. They find it a wonderful facility. And personally, when I was rehabbing from knee replacements, they loaned me quite a bit of medical equipment that I didn't have to go out and buy, and that was all at no cost. I, of course, gave them a donation, but really good group of folks, and I think that was a real vision to be able to have a facility like that up here in the valley. So I wholly support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Anyone else want to speak to Valley Cares? Article 24. No, Article 23. Now we're on Article 24, which asks the voters of Newfane to appropriate the sum of $220 to the Vermont Center for Independent Living, and their report is on page 132. Is there any comment or question about Article 24? I'm not seeing any raised hands. We'll move on to Article 25. Shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate the sum of $400 to Vermont Adult Learning? Any questions or comments? I'm looking for the raised hand icon, and I see none. Article 26. Shall the voters of Newfane appropriate the sum of $100 to the Vermont Green Up? Any questions or comments about Vermont Green Up? We'll move on to Article 27, which asks the voters of Newfane to appropriate $4,500 to the Visiting Nurses Alliance and Hospice for Vermont and New Hampshire. And their report is on page 133. And the chair recognizes Bill Gunther. Bill, you're on.
I'd like to speak again in support of the Visiting Nurses Alliance. While I was rehabbing for my knee replacements, they sent a physical therapist out to my house because I was unable to drive anywhere for 6 weeks, and he put up with me in a miserable condition and again got me back on track, and it's just a wonderful service. And I was amazed they'd come all the way up here on the mountain, but they did, and they got me back out in the woods and back to work. So I wholly support them. Thank you.
Does anyone want to add anything? Seeing no more raised hands, we'll move on to Article 28. Shall the voters appropriate $1,000 to the Williamsville School Preservation Society? Is there any comment or question for Article 28? Article 29. Shall the voters of Newfane appropriate $250 to the Windham County Historical Society? Any questions or comments about Article 20, that's 29, Article 29? Article 30. Shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate $720 to the Wyndham County Humane Society? Any questions or comments? Article 31, shall the voters of the town of Newfane appropriate $1,000 to the Women's Freedom Center? Any questions or comments about Article 31? Article 32, shall the voters of Newfane appropriate $1,660 to youth services? Any questions or comments about Article 32? Article 33, shall the voters of Newfane appropriate $250 to WinDart? Any questions or comments about Article 33? That is the end of the special appropriations. On the warning, you will be, every voter will be able to vote yes or no for each particular appropriation. And Bucky Pelsu is giving us a round of applause. We now move on to Article 34. Shall the voters of the town of Newfane authorize general fund expenditures for town and highway operating expenses of $1,599,996, of which $1,299,799 shall be raised by taxes and $300,197 by non-tax revenues? Is there any discussion or questions? You'll use the raise hand function if you want to say something. Thank you, Bucky is still clapping his hands. Take that as an affirmation. Bill Gunther, you're recognized. Bill, do you want to say something? Speak to Article 34?
I'm looking for a mark before and now. Oh, yes. On page 15, under general, as far as I know, every town in the county pays a tax to the county of Wyndham. And I believe I think the select board members know if that is based on a per capita basis. Currently, it's $22,669.
So the question for the select board is the county tax, or Wyndham County tax, figured on a per capita basis?
I think we need Melissa, our treasurer, to answer that if she's available.
Melissa, do you know the answer to that question? Are you still with us? Melissa, there you are.
Yes, it is based on a per capita basis.
So the answer is yes, it is a per capita basis.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Yeah, and I don't know if this will be appropriate under this article or if this would be appropriate under other business, but I had some questions in regards to the recent decision by the sheriff to move the sheriff's department out of the county shire town. So I guess in relation to this article, I'm wondering, would that move have any impact on this particular tax that we pay?
I don't, is there anyone here who can answer that?
None that we know of at this point. Right. And I guess it's their prerogative to move. Exactly. Which allows a nice historical building to become available.
So this is a question, Bill, that might be asked of the side judges or and I don't believe there are any side judges here tonight.
No, neither of them are here. One of them's a Rockingham resident. One of them lives in Brattleboro, I believe, and I don't see their names here. I'll probably take it up with them and the sheriff, but I'll just maybe shoot off my mouth and say I'm really against this. Every other county sheriff's department is in the Shire town, with the exception of Chittenden County, and that's I don't know. It's one of those Vermont traditions, and I guess Mark Anderson's got his reasons, but I don't know. I'd like him to at least explore to see whether or not we can keep it in Newfane.
Does anyone, oh, Shelley, you want to speak? Go ahead.
Yes, I did hear that their basis was to move to Brattleboro was because a majority of their work is in Brattleboro, and they're cooperating or allowing for the space to be used by Supreme Court or Superior Court for backup, and also they needed additional training space. So there were electrical and security issues based on the historical building they're in currently that was preventing them from growing and, having appropriate technological resources.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna take that up with Mark Anderson, because that's exactly what I saw in the paper. Those were the items listed, but there wasn't anything real specific. But thank you, folks, for trying to answer that. I know that's kind of out of your bailiwick.
That's what I know.
Is there anything else? Bill? Oh, he's gone. I'll be back. Are there any other discussion? Bucky, did you want to say something to Article 34? Maybe not. Any other discussion about Article 34? If not, we'll move on to Article 35. Shall the voters of the town of Newfane authorize capital fund expenditures of $316,345, of which $315,345 shall be raised by taxes and $1,000 by non-tax revenues? Is there any questions or discussion about Article 35? Okay, we'll move on to Article 36. Shall the voters of the town of Newfane raise by taxation the amount of $28,634 for the annual excavator lease payment? Are there any questions or comments about Article 36? Well, maybe you all came for Article 37. Oh, no, we're not there yet. We're missing. Okay, so Article 37 is, shall the voters of the town of Newfane approve the transfer of surplus funds in the amount of $125,000 to the Capital Reserve Fund, page 22. Are there any questions or comments about that? Now, if this were an in-person town meeting, we would have an Article 38 to discuss any non-binding business to come before the meeting. Did you come, have all your questions been answered, or would you like to use some time now while your select board is here to have a moderated discussion about something that's on your mind? And Bucky Pelsu, the chair recognizes you.
Thank you. This is a general question. I tried to get back when we were on the appropriation articles. If a person is not satisfied with the amount that is being proposed for a particular organization and vote it down, and and votes no, and there are enough no votes, does that mean that that organization would not be funded by the town of Newfane, or that it would be, or would it all be possible for that organization to ask the town to reconsider?
I think that's a question possibly for Melissa Brown, or is there someone on the select board who can answer that question?
Melissa can
Angela.
Yes, sir. Melissa can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe if the town votes no on any of the special appropriations, that's where it's left.
Right.
Is that correct, Melissa?
Yeah, that's it. If it's all voted down on the no, then they don't get the money and it just comes out of the budget.
We work the budget back in with the plus.
Okay, thank
We
you.
just rework the number, yeah.
Yeah.
And, okay, Bill Gunther, you're recognized for the chair.
My one line. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to just give my my annual thanks to Jay and the boys on the road crew. I haven't walked up the mountain yet this year, so that's how I judge how well they're doing. They're doing a great job. I know they had a tough time last summer. We had those 2 back-to-back storms in July that made it pretty tough, but they did a really nice job getting things back together. Things are a little rough in a few places, but I'm not going to whine. When I moved out here, I knew what I was getting into. But I want to give my annual thank you to the road crew folks. I see them out working all kinds of crazy hours, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're out on Christmas Day. So I really appreciate all their efforts.
I think I saw one of the town trucks pass on Route 30 just while we've been in here.
Probably so.
So, is there any? Does anyone have anything else to bring before the meeting? Is that right?
Are we all done with the meeting at this point?
I think we're done with the informational meeting. This is all, so this is what happens when we go to Australian ballot is we have the select board does the same work it does for town meeting of creating a budget and creating a warning, and they do this in their public meetings that anyone can go to and have input in. And the last time I went to a budget meeting, I asked for $500 to get a PA system for town meeting, and I was granted $750. Sadly, we haven't been able to use those microphones for the last 2 years, but hopefully we will again next year. Thank you all for attending the informational meeting, which will now adjourn and go back to the select board meeting, the regular select board meeting, which you can stay for and see how it is done. Thank you all very much, and I'll hope to see you next year.
Thank you so much, Deb, for running that. You do a great job as always.
Thank you. Signing off.
Take care. So we will reconvene the regular select board meeting at 7 o'clock, and that is the last thing we have, unless there's any other. Did you want to talk about that?
So what do you got left of the select board meeting?
We're finishing up right now. Hold on 1 second.
This is only from the lister's office. It's a certificate for them stating that there's been no taxes underpaid or protests.
So we just need to sign it,
You just need to sign it, and then it goes to the town clerk.
and we can do that during pay orders.
Correct.
Great.
Can
So,
I say something?
yes, Mike, of course.
I just wanted to say, I didn't know, well, the thing I was going to say that I just wanted to thank you ladies for all that you've done with the gravel bank, all the work you guys did on that. You guys did an excellent job, and I just hope everything goes as smooth as it has the first part of it. If it does, we'll be having our gravel bank be in there this summer, I think, By the end of the summer, they'll be getting gravel out of that, which the town really needs this stuff. But, I think all you girls, ladies, did a hell of a job. You did a hell of a good job. It's been my pleasure to be on the board with all of you. I hope the ones that want to get back on, that's what men get on.
And I'd just like to thank Shelley for all the time that she's had on the board. She's always had the town's interest at her heart, and I think she's done a hell of a good job, and I think you all have. So I just wanted to get that out tonight too, so.
Thank you,
Good luck
Mike.
with the election.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yep.
And with that, we'll move into, unless someone else has anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Shelley.
So this will be my last meeting, almost nearly 5 years. And I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. And I've, attended at these meetings with a full heart most of the time. And encourage other people to come and join the select board and take a turn at it. And, it's, you think it could be divisive, but it's actually, we all come together in the common good of the community. And it's been interesting and fulfilling to be a part of this select board.
It's been a pleasure to work with you too.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
So good luck going forth.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move into pay orders. I'd like to thank everyone for coming here tonight and being present for our meeting, and stay safe and have a great night. And don't forget to come vote.